The topic for the present video is phase 2 clinical trials, and in this video we are going to learn what is the objective of phase 2 clinical trials, which phase is before phase 2 clinical trial and after clinical trials of phase 2. So how these phase 2 clinical trials are done and what is the importance of phase 2 clinical trials. So clinical trials are performed in different phases like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and phase 4. And phase 1 clinical trial studies are performed in the small subject group, or you can say it like small number of patients or healthy subjects. The phase 1 clinical trial objective is to evaluate, assess doses, drug safety, side effects of the new treatment. And phase 1 clinical trial aim is to determine the dose of the drug that is safe. So safest dose determination is the prime objective of phase 1 clinical trials. And also the phase 1 clinical trial monitors the side effects of the drug under study. So this is brief idea about the phase 1 clinical trial. Now this video is mainly related to the phase 2 clinical trials. Once you have successful phase 1 studies, then go for the phase 2 clinical trials. The objective of the phase 2 clinical trial is to evaluate and assess the effectiveness of the drug in the treatment. So whether the drug is effective for the disease conditions or the disorders or not, that is the main objective of phase 2 trials. And along with the study of effectiveness, the phase 2 clinical trials also study and monitor the side effects. Also, it considers the safety. As we have seen in the phase 1 clinical trials, the dose determination is performed along with monitoring the side effects. In phase 2, mainly the effectiveness is studied. In phase 2 study, the drug is studied for its effectiveness, and it is studied that how well the drug works for the patient, whether the drug improves the disease condition or not. So that is the study of effectiveness. As we know, the drug should be safe and effective. So the effectiveness study is done in the phase 2 clinical trials. Phase 2 study involves the patient of the disease condition for which the drug is indicated. So mainly the patients are enrolled for the phase 2 clinical trials, and number of subjects vary from 100 to 300 numbers, or there may be more number of subjects based on the study requirements and the treatment. The types of phase 2 clinical trials are optimum dose study and efficacy at the optimal dose study. So like phase 2A and phase 2B are the types depending on the type of study. Phase 2A is optimal dose study and phase 2B is efficacy at the optimal dose study. In the phase 2 study, the effect of the drug is compared with the effect of placebo. So one group will be having placebo, that means there will not be any drug in that composition or formulation, and in the another group there will be a formulation with drug. So if the drug is effective, it will have more effect than the placebo effect. The phase 2 trials are randomized and these trials are controlled so that these will ensure accurate comparison between the treatment and the placebo. The randomization and controlled study will remove the bias in the clinical studies. The side effects and the adverse effect of the treatment is also closely monitored in the phase 2 trial. So in this way, the efficacy of the drug is assessed in the phase 2 clinical trial. The time duration may be from several months to 2 years or more for phase 2 clinical trials, depending on the condition and treatment for the evaluation of the drug effectiveness. If the molecule gets succeed in the phase 2 trials, then the study will be continued and it will move to the next phase, that is the phase 3 clinical trial. The phase 2 trial results and outcomes are essential to determine whether the drug will go for the next phase 3 or not, based on its effectiveness during the phase 2 studies. And generally phase 3 studies are performed in the large scale clinical study trials. So from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, the drug will be assessed for its safety and effectiveness. And this is the main aim of the clinical trials. I have made separate video on the overview of the clinical trials and phase 1 clinical trials as well. So I request to all viewers to go to those videos and watch, so that you will have all the required information for these clinical trials. So this is regarding the clinical trial phase 2, and we will meet soon with phase 3 clinical trials and phase 4 clinical trials. So I hope you might have liked this video, and I also request you to comment, or if you have any questions you can ask, and I will be happy to answer those questions. Thank you for watching the video.